Welcome, my name is Adrian Mathis and I'm the audio lead for the Student Production Agency. And today I'm going to show you how to operate the Sound Devices 664 mixer and get you shoot ready. The 664 is a 12 input analog mixer recorder. It's got 6 channels and it's 16 track. You have 6 channels. Here's your input side. And here's your output. And here are your channel faders. Let's start by looking at our inputs. So right here, you just have your 6 analog input. You have 2 headphone outputs. One of them is a 1/4 inch. The other is an 1/8 inch. You have your remaining 6 TA3 inputs. For our purposes in Spark, we only use our XLR inputs. So let's take a look at our output side. We have a few different outputs here, but for our production purposes, I'm only going to go over the ones that we use. Up top, you have your 10-pin connections. You have your return A and return C. Just below that, you have your main outputs, which are XLR connections, and return B. And down here at the very bottom, that's going to be your power input. Right here is a spot for your internal AA batteries. The 664 operates on external power and internal power. However, internal power is going to eat up a lot of battery, so we mainly like to work off of external power. So for our external power source, we have a rechargeable lithium battery and the power cradle. What you want to do is take your power connector and connect it to the input. It's 4 pins, so you're gonna have to be gentle. Line it up and just pop it in. Once you have the cradle connected, go ahead and insert your lithium battery. Now at the top of the mixer, over on the right side, you'll see your power switch. There's an internal, external, and off. Internal is gonna be to the right, and remember, internal is powered by AA batteries, but be aware that the mixer uses a lot of power. Remember, when you're dealing with your internal battery, it doesn't last very long, so we always want to go with our external. You would just flip your switch to the right, and then you'll see power. We'll get more in depth in the menu functions a little bit later, but for now, I want to talk about our channel functions. This mixer is basically like any audio interface that you'll use. You have your mic trim or gain. You have your fader for fine adjustments. You have your high pass filter. You have your pan, and then you have your pre-fader listen and solo. So with the mic trim, as I said before, it's used to make large adjustments to the gain of the microphone. But it's also used to power on the channel. And you'll know that it's powered on once you hear the click. The fader is a standard fader function, just making fine adjustments. Your high pass filter, just like the mic trim, you'll push it in so that your button pops out, and you'll turn it and you'll hear the click, and that's how you know it's activated. Panning, same thing. You want to push the button so that it pops out and then make your adjustments as needed. Pre-fader listen, it's also a solo. If you push it to the right, it'll allow you to hear the signal before any fader adjustments. That way you can make sure that you have a clean signal coming in. If you move it to the left, it presents channel options. So when you move your pre-fader selector to the right, it'll give you channel options. However, you'll notice that as I'm pushing this to the right, the options disappear. If you read the text on screen, it'll tell you that the channel is powered off and you need to rotate the trim to activate. So again, you want to go over to your gain, pop it out, and turn it on. And that's how you activate the channel. Now, so when you move your pre-fader selector to the right, you'll notice that they bring up the channel options. However, you'll notice when I release, the channel options disappear. If you read the text on screen, it'll tell you that the channel is powered off, rotate trim to activate. So at that point, you want to come back over to your gain or your trim, pop it out, and then rotate to activate the channel. Before we dive deeper into our menu options, let's get a mic set up. This is a Sennheiser ME416 shotgun. What you want to do is take your XLR and connect it to the input of the mic. You'll hear the click once it's snapped in. Now you want to take the male end of the XLR and connect it to the female end of your mixer. So when it comes to connecting your camera to your mixer, you have two options. You have your 10-pin to XLR breakaway cable, and you have your XLR to XLR breakaway cable. Let's take a look at our XLR to XLR breakaway cable. The reason why it's called a breakaway cable is because you can just pull it and it'll easily come apart. You want to make sure you're actually pulling at the right area, so you'll see the separation between it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this end of the breakaway cable and we're going to go ahead and connect it. Remember, you always want to strain relief. That way, if something happens, somebody comes, tugs it, nothing gets unplugged. The general rule of thumb is red is channel 1 and blue is channel 2. Now if you notice, this is a gray cable. However, it still represents channel 2. Always remember red is channel 1. Blue channel 2, red channel 1. We're going to take the other end of our breakaway cable. Remember, red is channel 1 or the left channel, and blue is channel 2 or the right. And what you're going to do is on your output section, you're going to take it and you're going to plug it in to left and right. Be extra careful not to cross your signals up. This part of the breakaway cable is going to go into the return B slot. So now that we have our mixer set up to the camera, we're going to go ahead and send tone. The reason we want to send tone to our camera is so that we make sure we properly gauge our audio levels in the camera relative to what's going on in the mixer. Okay. So at the bottom of our screen here, on the left side, you'll see a selector switch that says tone and one that says mic. We don't use mic, that one is for our slate mic. After we connect our XLRs to our channel 1 and our channel 2 input, we want to go ahead and go into our menu options to make sure that we're getting the right input. So you're going to select menu. You're going to scroll until you see your audio setup options. Push in the little selector. Audio input. And on XLR record channel, you want to make sure it's set to channel 1 and channel 2, since we have both of the inputs, 1 and 2. Once that's done, audio output, same thing, channel 1 and channel 2. All right. In order to see our audio levels, we need to clear the waveform from the screen. How we do that is by pressing the waveform button. And now you can see your channel 1 and channel 2 audio input level. Let's go ahead and send tone. The way we send tone from the mixer to the camera is you'll see your selection switch at the bottom below the screen, and there's an option for mic to the left, and there's an option for tone to the right. We want tone. If you press it over, you'll notice that it shows up for a moment, but then it goes away. You have to hold it for a few seconds, and now you have consistent tone. Back over at our camera, you'll notice that we have signal coming from the mixer, from the tone that we're sending in the mixer to the camera. One important thing that you have to remember, the mixer sends a line level signal. So on your channel 1 and channel 2 options for the input, it has to be on line. If it's on mic or phantom power, then you'll get a distorted noise. To adjust the audio level so that you know you're monitoring your audio properly, what you want to do is scroll this wheel until you get it to about the halfway point. That's how you know you got good level, good signal. If you find that you're scrolling the wheel but it's not working, you have to set your switch. If you're scrolling the wheel and you find that the audio level isn't being adjusted, you have to set your switch from auto to manual. So now that I've shown you our audio setup for our Canon C500 camera, I'm going to show you the setup for our other camera, the Sony FS7. It's already been hooked up, same breakaway cable, and remember, channel 1 is red, channel 2 is blue. But let's go ahead and dive into the menu options. So on the left side of our camera, aka the smart side, we have all of our menu options. What you want to do to get to your audio options, press the menu button and you're going to scroll down until you get to the audio option. Then you're going to select by just pushing in the scroll wheel, and you're going to make sure that your channel 1 is on, your channel 1 input select is on input 1, and your channel 2 input select is on input 2. Simple as that. Make sure your audio output is channel 1, channel 2. And now you're good to go with that. You'll also see that you have your scroll wheel for the volume, same as the Sony C500. If you find that the adjustments that you're making aren't registering, remember to switch it from auto to manual. To get our audio options set up, what you want to do is you press your menu button and you want to scroll until you see the audio section. Press the select, which is the scroll wheel. You're going to audio input and make sure that your channel 1 input select is input 1 and your channel 2 input select is input 2. Then scroll down, find your audio output, and make sure that the monitor channel is channel 1 and channel 2. Now that we've got our menu options situated, we need to make sure that our camera operator can properly monitor what's going on with the audio. So on our breakaway cable, you'll notice that we have a female end 1/4 inch and a male end 1/4 inch. Plug your headphones 1/4 inch into the female end of the breakaway cable and take that male end and you want to plug it into the headphone slot of your camera. This also lets you know which end of the breakaway cable is which. So now that we have our camera fully set up, let's go ahead and get ready to record. Before we start recording, you want to make sure that the 664 has a memory card. The memory card slot is on the output side. You just flip up the tab, take your memory card and insert, and you'll feel it click. Now let's go to our mixer screen. So now we have our memory card inserted. One important thing to note is that our channels have turned red. If there isn't a memory card, then our channels will be gray, and you'll know that there's no record function. Get the memory card back in, and now they're red. Our transport is right here. Record. To start the recording, you want to push up. That lets you know that you're recording. To stop, just push the selector in. To play back the take that you just had, press down. And to go between takes, it's left and it's right. In order to monitor the audio coming through the mixer, you have a few different options. with your selector switch here at the bottom right. You can monitor the left-right stereo, which is capturing what's being mixed, post fader, post gain. To monitor the return A path, you're going to flip the selector switch to the left. To monitor return B or return C, you flip the switch to the right. Yeah. And to get back to your left-right stereo, you just flip it the opposite direction. My name is Adrian Mathis for Spark. This has been the Sound Devices 664 tutorial, and now you're set ready.